What I really love about the 12th episode, the last episode, to really wrap up the entire season of the 100 Girlfriends Who Really Love You anime series, is that it manages to blend together two elements that I really love when it comes to directing, or how to approach rather the ending of a anime, right? Whether or not it would be ending at a one course, or with 12 or 24 episodes, or just in general the entirety of when it is being covered in the anime, in an anime adaptation, right? So one of the first things that I really look for, right, is first of all to how it ends the story, right, in a very satisfying yet digestible, quote unquote digestible manner, that doesn't really give off a huge, no, not that intense one of a cliffhanger, but also it ensures that there is more yet to come, right? Yet, right, the anime's coverage, right, just as it is, right, from the 12 episodes that it has, or 12, 24 episodes that it has, manages to leave enough room for great satisfaction to the audience, to the viewer, because it seems okay for the story to stop at that point, right? Which may or may not continue if it were to have a second season or second course, for instance, right? So the entire gist of this idea is that it is a sort of ending, right? As I've said, that is that covers the anime really well, that ends the anime really well, but it's also something that doesn't really leave you with asking a lot of questions, so to speak, right? But after all, to be fair, Hyaku no Handekanojo, this is a story of which, even according to Nakamura Sensei, who is the author of this incredible story, he mentioned once in an interview that this series is the type of story of which there is quote unquote no end, right? So there's no sort of quote unquote like narrative that it follows, right? I mean, yeah, there is, right? There's definitely a storyline to this, but essentially this is a gag rom-com story, right? Where each chapter of the manga goes further and further, with more characters being added into the story, being added into the Rentaro family, right? And also having the different story arcs that with these characters involved, right, further elevates that story, makes it more substantial, makes it more concrete, and also fulfilling the need, right, for all of these characters to have moments to shine, right? And it continues that over and over again, that will eventually end up to 100 girlfriends, right? And even Nakamura Sensei was really sure that yes, this will he will ensure that this will be achieved, so to speak, right? But yes, for a harem story like this, it's not the type that can be simply be covered within one anime season, right? The 100 Girlfriends Who Really Loves You, yet on the anime adaptation, it covers only 6 heroines so far, right? Or yet. And yeah, that's exactly the case, right? It's not the type of it's certainly not the type of story of which it can be, you can be satisfied with just this part, right? Yes, you can for sure, but it's the type of story as well of which that you can get a lot more from it as you read along with the original source material, right, which is in this case the manga. But this arc, right, the entire arc of the series really concludes, or acts rather, as a sort of checkpoint for which it really achieves the goal that every character involved within the arc really does have closure, right? They do have their moments where they shine, and they are satisfied. It's satisfied with the way that things arrive, right? And this sort of checkpoint for the anime only watchers, so to speak, right, who watch the anime and not really read into the manga yet, right, they may or may not choose to stop at this point, because again, this series, or the way that this episode conducted itself, is in a way of which, yes, you can be satisfied if you stop here for now, but if you want to read more, or if you want to find out more, well, look forward to the second season, or you can read the manga for yourself. That is the thing. You may or may not choose to to continue it or not, but there's certainly that level of curiosity that has been sparked because of the way the episode ended. And that is the second thing that I wanted to share about, or wanted to address, as one of the things rather that I really love about an ending of an anime, right? Towards ending an anime, is that there's the aspect of it makes you want to keep reading more, want to know more about how the story goes, about these characters, and just you are so excited, filled with so much curiosity and love for this series that you really want to take a look into the manga to continue off where this story has concluded within the anime, right? And trust me, for a lot of I do experience that sort of feeling as well with a lot of anime series as well. The Dangers in My Heart, for example, is a really good manga anime adaptation that I really fell in love with. I haven't heard about it until the anime. When I watched it, I fell in love with it, and from then on I continued reading the manga, and it's truly one of the best stories that I've ever read. It's very heartwarming, and I simply just really love it, right? And Hyakuno manages to also do this, right? It makes the audience curious to what may happen next in a very, very exciting way, of which this really sparked the interest to, again, read original source materials, right? The entirety of this season was really very adaptable, I would say, right? To ensure that all of the heroines, all of the characters have somehow made a good impact towards the audience, right? From their personality, the way that the voice actors perform their lines through the of their characters, right? And the overall relationship that these characters have with one another and towards the Rentaro, the protagonist, right? Which also makes this story, the overall story, right, that these characters have been through, so much more memorable. Right? Now, as soon as the episode starts, we kick off, or continue off rather, with the steamy moment between Rentaro and Hahari. Things escalate further, and I have to say, it's really one of mostly, I guess, mostly from Sumire Iwasaka's performance of Hahari, right? Who really carries the scene and nails it so beautifully to be just, well, absolutely beautiful, right? And then we cut to this wonderful cross-dressing scene with Rentaro, cross-dressing moment, right? And it continues off towards the peeping Rentaro at the bath mission or arc, right, so to speak, right? So fun, really fun times all around within the first few minutes of the episode, right? Lots of funny moments here and there, absolutely beautiful, and how they managed to nail it down. Then the atmosphere then sorts of kind of shifts, right, towards a more serious tone, towards a more serious moment that would happen between Rentaro, Hahari, and Hahari's first lover, right? Now, it's this part of the story that of the arc and overall story, I guess, as well, that is incredibly important towards Hahari's character to Rentaro's character as well. I won't spoil into that part much, right? Especially on how Rentaro was able to help resolve Hahari's feelings, right? But what I can say is that the way that they've directed this entire sequence, this entire moment and scene between the two of them is just absolutely perfect, right? It really had the right setup for the conversation between Hahari and Rentaro. The timing of the musical score and the musical score itself was just so emotional and heartwarming. And reading this for the first time, I was really shaking from what Hahari went through, right? And indeed, so the art also plays a good part in really portraying such an emotional impact towards that moment. But seeing it again, being animated really amps it up to a whole new level because of how genuine and really, really gives you good satisfaction towards how she resolved and sorted out her feelings, right? Absolutely beautiful, and it's not only Hahari who gets this loving moment, but Hakari as well, right? Though she didn't show it that much within this entire the first few minutes, right? She felt so terrified, but yet so relieved, right? She was so relieved to finally be with Rentaro again, because the weight of what she went through, right, was truly heavy. You know, for someone like like Hakari, who just as much as any of the other girls really loves Rentaro, for her to be separated from him was just absolutely terrifying, and it really would fill her with dread, right, from how, you know, painful it may have been. But thankfully everything was able to resolve it. Everything was resolved, right? But you know, this scene between Hakari and Rentaro, on how she feels like this huge burden was lifted off her chest, right? That she's finally able to breathe a sigh of relief, shows how much, you know, just how much indeed this whole situation was for her. Following after that, right, resolving or having this moment with Hakari and Rentaro, we also get a moment where we get to see Rentaro and the ghost of Hahari's first lover. Overall, right, on how it goes, the exchange of words between the both of them is really performed so very well, right? And it's surely one that would leave you satisfied, from how it's both as serious and as heartwarming as it gets, yet it, of course, Hyakano is Hyakano, right? It still manages to blend it so very well with that really funny way of exiting, so to speak, right? And how it ended up. And I won't spoil into, well, that part any further, right? But yes, you know, overall, after everything that happened in the Hanazono household, right, after everything was wrapped up, Hahari pulled another Hahari move, right? Then we cut to this absolutely crowd cheering, fist pumping in the air, tears of joy coming down like a waterfall moment. Not a fun fact, sorry, but when I was watching this moment, I was hyperventilating, crying, like sobbing. I was like a child, right? I guess I'm a child in one way or another, right? But like the overall excitement that came from watching this entire sequence was just absolutely like mind-blowing indeed. And like my mind was just filled with such happiness. It's truly, you know how Hahari has like a waterfall drool that she has going on. That's me, but with tears instead of the drool, right? So this entire sequence is essentially a cameo sequence, not only from Mei, right, who we actually get to see quite early in the episode. Everyone is super like excited as well to see Mei early on within the episode. Like, okay, I might as well add as well that, okay, for sure, this is definitely Mei, and I'm really glad that she appeared in this episode as well, so out there, right? And we also get to hear a bit of dialogue, or see her speak a bit as well, which is really cool. But aside from Mei, right, a Mei cameo, we also get to see 4 other heroines who appeared within this cameo sequence, who will also then appear later on in the story in the coming of the second season, right? So we get to see each shot of the cameo girls, the cameoed girls, right? You know, I can really tell that all of us fans, you know, especially the hardcore fans of each, who really appreciate right each of these certain girls, specific girls, were just really filled to the brim with peak happiness, peak joy, right? And to further add on a bow tie to this nicely wrapped gift, which is the anime adaptation, we get to see that they've announced the second season for this anime. My god, it's wonderful, right? Truly wonderful. A wonderful way to end the first season of the anime, right? The entirety of this season was truly spectacular, I would say, right? I really love the detail as well, where on the first episode they didn't really air the opening theme song, right? Only the ending theme song. But within the final episode, right, they've they didn't air the opening theme song at the start nor the ending theme song, but they played the opening theme song right at the end. It's that sort of, type of ending, so to speak, right? And that song as well was played during this whole cameo sequence, right, of Future Girls, which I thought was super super cool as well. To summarize my overall thoughts about the adaptation of this anime, I would say that it is a very fruitful adaptation filled with breathtaking animation designs and sequences that please the eyes, astonishing musical scores that seamlessly draw you into the moments, a directing style that manages to capture the essence that is 100 Kanojo, and memorable characters that are well accompanied by the amazing story they tread. Truly, 100% satisfaction. Absolutely beautiful work. And I really can't wait for the second season. And with that being said, thank you for listening, family, and take care.